Hello there, and then welcome to a brand new video. This is Hub Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. Now, in this lesson, we are looking at the long division method. The long division method. The long division method is a step-by-step way of dividing large numbers. You see, so just like in multiplication, the vertical method, we multiply each digit by what? The number. Same applies to the long division. So you'd step by step divide a very large number. Now, in a long division, there are some terms you need to know so that as I use them, you become conversant and then understand them. The first is what we call the dividend. When we talk of a dividend, so if you have, let's say, A divided by B, the number to be divided over here is A. So A now becomes our dividend. It is B that is dividing our A, so we call B our divisor. We call B our divisor. If you would want me to use numbers to represent that, let's say if you have 24 divided by what? 5. Your 24 becomes your dividend, and then the 5 becomes your divisor. Now, we all know what 24 divided by 5 will give us. That will be a 4 whole number. Then there will be a remainder of a 4. You see, this 4 here is the result of your division, and we call that the quotient. The result of your division is the quotient. And then we have the remainder, which is what is left after your division. Take note that it is not every division that results in a remainder. If the number or if the dividend is a multiple of the divisor, then the quotient you would get would always give you a remainder, which is what? 0. There's a general formula here that relates the dividend, divisor, quotient, and remainder. And what it says is, anytime you have your divisor, quotient, and remainder, you can multiply your divisor by the quotient, then add your remainder, and that will give you your dividend. What this means is, if I multiply 5 by 4, I'll get 20. And 20 plus 4 would also give me 24. You see, so just these numbers give me back my 24. Now, that said, let's quickly look into division properly. So for our first example here, we are to divide 5,472 by 4. All right, so let's look at how we can simply use the long division to do that. Now, the long division requires you to put this symbol there. So we put something like this. Okay, so with this symbol, we then put our dividend inside. Okay, so in this case, our dividend is the 5,472. So I'm going to put that here. My 5,472. And then my divisor stays outside. That is the 4 over here. So all you need to do now is to divide the digits in your dividend one after the other. What do I mean by that? I'll divide 5 by 4, 4 by 4, 7 by 4, and 2 also by 4. You do it one after the other. So let's go. We first of all start by dividing 5 by 4. So how many 4s do you have in 5? Or in other words, 5 divided by 4. You are going to get a whole number of 1. Right? So after writing your 1, anytime you divide, you write what you get up here, which is your quotient. Then you come and then multiply the quotient again by the divisor. Okay, so we now have 4 times 1, and 4 times 1 gives us what? A 4. And take note, you write it just beneath the digit you divided. You don't shift it, just beneath the digit you divided. After which you do a subtraction operation. You see, so we subtract the 4 from the 5. You see, and 5 minus 4 gives us 1. I'm taking this again. So the long division method is a step-by-step method, right? And we don't take the whole digit just as ones to divide, but rather we do it one after the other, one after the other. So for this example here, we are starting with what? 5. So we say 5 divided by 4. What are we going to get? We are getting a 1 whole number. And as I said, you take time to write your 1 just on top of the 5. After writing your 1, you now multiply it again by the divisor, and you write your result down here. So it's actually 4. But after writing our result, we come and subtract. So we have 5 minus 4 giving us 1. Okay. It might seem confusing at the first, but then if you just take your time and then look at how the remaining proceeds, you would enjoy it. So we have our 1 over here. Now, after every remainder, we now come back to the dividend and then bring the next number down. You see? So we are done with 5. But rather, we need to bring the next number in line, which is 4, so that we can also continue the division with the 4. So we bring our 4 down. And you take note that as we have brought this 4 down, it has changed the value over here. So it is no more 1, but then it is what? A 14. Now 14 is the digit we have here. So we start the division again. 4 divides the whole of this 14. How many times? Once again, 4 divides the whole of this 14. How many times? 3 times. So we have our 3. After writing what you got, you now come and multiply it again by the divisor. And that is a 4 by 3. 4 by 3 gives us what? A 12. So you write our 12 over here. And once again, we use our subtraction operation to find the difference. All right. So that is 14 minus 12. And we can simply do it as 4 minus 12. That gives us a 2. You see? So you with what you are doing now, you realize that anytime you subtract, the number you get, anytime you subtract, the answers you get are always less than your divisor. Take note. Now, if you subtract anytime and then you don't get an answer that is less than your divisor, then it simply means you've done something wrong. So as we have our 2 here, sure, it is less than our divisor. Hence, we are done with 5 and we are also done with 4. So you bring the next digit down, which is what? 7. So 7 comes down and we start the whole process of division again. You see? So this time around, we have 24 divided by what? We have 27 here divided by 4. So how many times does 4 divide 24? And that is 6. So we come and then write the 6 right on top of this digit, because that is where we are now. And you also do your multiplication. 6 times 4. 6 times 4 gives us what? A 24. So we write your 24. And once again, we do our subtraction. You see? So you have 7 minus 4. That gives you a 3. You see? So gradually, we are getting to the last digit, which is 2. So you bring the 2 down. The 2 comes down, and our new number is what? A 32. We start our division again. 32 divided by 4. You see? So this time around is a 32 divided by 4. And then we know that gives us an 8. So how many times does 4 divide 32? It is an 8. So you write our 8 up here. And once again, we do our multiplication. 8 times 4 gives us a 32. And for this time, you realize that if we do our subtraction, we'll get what? A 0. There's no remainder. You see? Now, if we had 0 and there was another number here, we would have even still brought it to continue our division. You see? So as long as there is a number here, our division continues. But in this case, there is no number. And moreover, we have a remainder of 0. Okay? So this simply implies that 5,472 divided by 4 is actually equal to 1,368. You get it? So in this case, once again, using the terms, our dividend was 5,472. Our divisor was 4. Our quotient we had was 1,368. And then we have no remainder. So it actually has a remainder of 0. You see that? Let's pick some few more example, or just one more example, so we understand it better. Okay, so in this second example here, let's take note of it. If you have understood it just with the first example, you can pause, try your hands on this, and then come so we do it together. So as usual, we'll put it in a symbol. As you see, our dividend and then our quotient in their respective places. So let's look at how we go about it. We are going to divide the digits in the dividend one after the other. Okay, so first of all, we are dividing 4 by 3. That is 4 divides 3 divides 4 how many times? Just once. So the 1 comes up here. Then we do our multiplication again. So 1 times 3 gives us what? A 3. And make sure you write it just beneath the 4, because it is the 4 you are working with now. Okay, then now bring your subtraction. So you want to ask yourself, 4 minus 3, what does it give us? It gives us a 1. So you put our 1 down, and with that, you are done with the first column. That allows you to bring another number down, which in this case is 3. So we bring our 3 down, and we start our process again. So this time around, we have 13. 3 divides the whole of 13 how many times? It's just 4 times. And we bring our 4 up here on top of the second digit. 4 times 3 gives us a what? A 12. So you put our 12 down here, and we do our subtraction. This time around, we have a remainder also of 1. Our next digit in line, which is the 5, joins the Q, so that we have a 15. You see? Now, 15 divided by 3 gives us what? A 5. So you put our 5 here. And then 5 times 3 gives us what we call the 15. What do? We subtract. Now, after subtracting, we have a 0. Okay, because 15 minus 15 is actually a 0. Now, you take note that we still have one more digit we have not brought down. So let's bring that number down, which is your 2. Okay, so for clarity, let me just delete this. Now we have 2. Okay, then we don't say that is your remainder. No, you'd still divide. So 2 divided by 3, how many times? How many whole numbers? Now take note, in the enumeration system, 0 is also a whole number. You see, it is also a whole number. But under significant figures, 0 is insignificant when it is leading. Okay, so 2 divides 3, or let me say 3 divides 2. How many times? 0. You see, then we now come and then do what? Multiply the 0 by the 3. So 0 times 3 gives us what? A 0. And if we subtract now, what do we have? We have a 2. With that, there is no other digit for us to bring down. Since there is no other digit, that ends our division. I want you to take note of what is happening here. You don't get confused because you finished the first 3 and you realize the last digit was a 2. And since 3 cannot completely divide 2 to give us 1 and above, you say it's a remainder. No. So for all the digits here, until the last, we always need to write an answer up here, even if it is 0. So right from step 1, you need to give us something, even if it is 0. Right off, even for the second digit, if it is 0, you still need to put it there. You always need to put your zeros before you go to the next step. And as we have done here, this 2 has become our remainder. In our subsequent video, we will look at how to even proceed to get decimal. But under the scope of this, we want to conclude that 4,352 divided by 3 is actually equal to, so we'd have it as 1,450 with a remainder, you see, so with a remainder of what? 2. A remainder of 2. And that is just it. So this is the process of long division. And I do hope you did understand. If there's any issue of concern, you can always let me know in the comment section. In our subsequent lessons, we will actually look at how to divide even to the decimals. Now, as usual, I would not leave without giving you an exercise. So you have 3 questions here you can try your hands on. The third one actually has 2 digits, and it's still the same procedure, right? So just to test your understanding and challenge yourself, try them out and then let me know the answers in the comment section. If this is your first time, you can choose to subscribe if you so do wish, so that anytime I release a video, you'll be notified as well. This is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. I do hope this lesson was helpful. Stay blessed and see you in our next lesson. Bye for now.